Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Max with Buzz Talks here, and I am back with a House of the Dragon preview video. In this video, I'm going to look at the trailer for the latest episode to drop and give my thoughts and feelings on what we can expect next episode. But I want to issue a mild spoiler warning because not only am I looking at this trailer, I am looking at every other trailer that has been released. So if you don't want to see these scenes put together in a cohesive manner, then back away from this video. But thanks for stopping in. For those of you who stuck around, let's get into it. This episode seems like a very action-packed spectacle episode because it deals with two primary conflicts. First, with King Viserys having a son, Aegon. And he had this son with Alicent Hightower, who is the hand of the king, Otto Hightower's daughter, and also Rhaenyra's friend, even though I feel like that's slowly going to start to become a stretch. The other aspect of this episode is the crab feeders. Corlys Velaryon has been warning about them for a while. Essentially, it's a pirate infestation, and the leader's called the crab feeder because he feeds people to crabs. But it's becoming a bigger and bigger threat, and the king wants to end it in a diplomacy. He doesn't want to go into a war, whereas Corlys Velaryon sees the true threat that it's going to beggar their ports, and it's going to really hinder House Valyrian. So because of the king's passivity, Corlys Velaryon approached Daemon Targaryen, his brother, with the same issue. And now it seems like these two are taking it upon themselves to deal with the crab feeder themselves. And that's what I think a big chunk of this episode is going to be. It is going to be the battle against the crab feeder. We're going to get a lot of spectacle. We're going to see Corlys Velaryon put on his helmet and fight as well. We're going to see Daemon Targaryen and see why he's known as such a formidable opponent. It's also going to be entertaining too because the crab feeder is a very new type of villain. Just new wardrobe. He's very intimidating. It's very interesting. And what we see from the clips is that the battle is going very well. We see a lot of great moves by Daemon, but then the arrows get the better of him. And I believe in this moment, Daemon is going to be furious. And he's going to call his dragon Caraxes and essentially lay waste to the whole beach. And I really think here they're going to show us the true might of the dragons. That it's essentially a nuclear bomb. Where no matter if you're winning or losing, if you have a dragon, you will win. And I think Daemon is going to fire and blood the whole beach. To the point where there's essentially nothing left. And I think it'll boil down to this scene with the crab feeder remaining. And this is all my interpretation, but I see the crab feeder as essentially giving up, but still doing his duty. And maybe Daemon Targaryen will get off his dragon and fight him and execute him himself. We will see what happens. I don't think the true plot is the crab feeder and him filling up their ports. I think the real plot is the ramifications Corlys Velaryon and Daemon Targaryen are going to pay from the king. And based on the king's actions, I don't think it will be much. The king is in between a rock and a hard place, and he's been known to make decisions that aren't necessarily strong. And because of that, people are taking advantage of him. Last episode, we had Daemon Targaryen taking advantage of his brother by stealing the dragon egg, giving it back, and the king just let him be. The king let him sit on Dragonstone, even though that's not technically his. And I think this will be no different. Because Corlys Velaryon is the most valuable ally the king has. He is one of the richest houses, and he has the blood of the dragon from Old Valyria. And the king had the chance to wed his daughter, and he didn't. So because of this betrayal, I think the king is going to be upset, but there's not much he can do. So my guess is the king is actually going to make some concessions. But I'll get more into that later. So now King Viserys is distracted. He has a son. He's living the family life. And because of that, he's going to be very blind to what is happening with the crab feeder. But because of that, he's also seems to be neglecting or not understanding his personal life. He's so wrapped up in Alicent Hightower and his son Aegon, I think he's going to start to really be tone deaf to Rhaenyra and how she's feeling. We see scenes here where King Viserys has done his duty and had a son. But I think King Viserys himself still sees Rhaenyra as an heir, even though Rhaenyra isn't naive enough to think that. But because the king did his duty, now he sees it time for Rhaenyra to do hers and to get married. And we see that that's something that she doesn't want. I think we're going to see drama build even further, more tension between Rhaenyra and Alicent, and it results in Rhaenyra running away. So it seems like the one person that follows her, he's either going to follow her and accompany her, or he's going to come to her rescue, is Criston Cole. He was chosen to become Lord Commander of the Kingsguard because of Rhaenyra. She chose him last episode. And he ends up saving her from some type of situation. Rhaenyra was not thinking and put herself in a very dangerous situation. And we're going to see a lot of scenes between Criston Cole and Rhaenyra. The one thing I will say is pay attention to these character dynamics, because Criston Cole and Rhaenyra are going to learn a lot about each other, and it can really hint at foreshadow what their dynamic is going to be in the future. The king is trying to have a balancing act here, where he knows his son really is next in line for the throne, but he wants his daughter also to feel like she's understood, she's appreciated, she's still his daughter, and she still has a claim to something. So Viserys is going to be playing that game, and this is the tug of war between Alicent Hightower being like, hey, our son is the heir, versus Rhaenyra Targaryen, who said, hey, you said I was going to be the heir. So the one thing I will say about the upcoming season, and if you do not want to be spoiled after the next episode, leave this video right now. But for those of you who stuck around, it seems natural that this episode is going to lead to a type of concession with the king and Corlys Velaryon to really strengthen House Targaryen and House Velaryon. They will wed Corlys' son to Rhaenyra. And we see some scenes here of them building rapport. We potentially see the wedding. So this is going to be Rhaenyra doing her duty. And I don't think she's necessarily going to be happy about it. But this is where we're going to slowly start to see the rift. Where if Corlys' son is marrying Rhaenyra, then he naturally would want to support Rhaenyra's claim to the throne. Because that means his son gets to be next to the highest seat in Westeros. And as time goes by, Alicent Hightower and the king are going to start to get normalized, and their son Aegon will become the primary heir. But that is all I will say about this episode and what is to come. Let me know what you think about what's going to happen in this episode down below. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.